Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and today I have the pleasure of welcoming someone who is looking at world from that point of view, where images move faster. Uh, Primarily, there are very few Indian Americans whom you would find are actively pursuing their passion for Formula car racing. And someone at such a tender age, not even completed 2 decades of his presence here on Earth, Atharva Desai joins me today. Athar, welcome. Namaste.
Namaste, namaste.
And I'm so delighted to be talking to you. And most of the kids have their fascination for cars, and I remember having seen many kids collect cars of different types. But you were different kind of a kid. Talk to me about your interest in cars, and that too, then uh, racing cars.
Sure, of course, and lovely to be here, and it's great talking to you. Uh, Interesting cars. I love cars. That's like when I was super little, when I was about 2 years old, I was always into how cool cars were down on the road. But the most attractive thing I saw was the cars that I saw on TV, which were the Formula cars. And I just got an extreme amount of interest towards that. My dad, he's very interested in Formula One, and he was following the sport for a very long time, so he would often put it on TV, and that just 2 3 year old me would always just crawl over and just kind of hug the TV with my face. When I got a little older, to when I was 5, then I started to understand just how beautiful the Formula cars looked on TV. It was absolutely beautiful and splendid to look at, and I just fell in love with it the moment I saw the cars just going zoom right past the screen, and I was just mesmerized with my eyes wide open. And that's when I came to my baba and I started pulling his shirt and I said, I want to do this. I want to do this, right? So my interest in cars just was always there. And then from that point, I moved on to do karting. I didn't meet the height requirement when I was 5 years old for my indoor track. And us being not very knowledgeable about the field of racing, we just knew that there was a karting track as well. We knew about this karting track because sometime before, my baba went to a corporate event with go-karts, and that was my first time seeing actual go-karting in its full flesh and form. And he got a third place podium in it for his first time. So, and I was very excited to just hold the trophy like this, right? And just kind of hold it. So it was absolutely exciting. The time I asked the owner, my dad asked the owner, how can I get in? I needed to meet the age requirement and the height requirement. So after a year, that's when I first started getting into the karting. I was able to fit in the carts and properly drive it, and from there, that's just how it went through. I had so much fun starting off in karting, moving across the ranks, and then suddenly winning the junior and senior league championships and just climbing up that ladder. It was awesome.
It is indeed awesome. Very few of us think that things that they are dreaming about are possible. And what we see from your Instagram post, this talk to me. What is this? Is this go kart? This is real car racing. What is this?
Yes, this is go-kart. This was from one of the tracks of my league. So when I first started out in karting, I started in an indoor go-karting track. And this footage was probably some of my first time in karting, in proper outdoor karting. So as I can see this, I can already see the amount of rookie mistakes I'm making and how much I climbed to that point. So that was actually my first time when I started doing proper karting, outdoor karting. I first started with indoor karting, got my skills there, and then we bought a full-fledged go-kart for outdoors. And then I started competing in the outdoor leagues and the outdoor clubs, and that's how I really made my name in karting. And then I kind of just started practicing, and that's where I got fourth.
Yeah. So since you mentioned you made your name, I'm reminded that you have been interviewed by some of the mainstream channels. I think you were on Fox, you were on some other channels, and how it is for you to be coming from the background that you have, being an Indian American and not having many people in that space who are in the Formula car racing. Um, Even before you respond to this, talk to me a little bit about, was there any fear in your mind when you started finding that speed has a kind of mystical power which gives you a sort of a joy and a high, but at the same time it puts you in harm's way? So the balance between all these emotions.
Yeah, first, karting is very dangerous, especially when you're going speeds and you do not have the confidence to build up your skills. Especially when you first start off karting and you have no idea what to do, but the only thing you know how to do is put your foot on the gas, not knowing when to brake. It's very difficult, and it's also dangerous if you don't practice the sort of techniques or the sort of confidence that you have in karting. So there was always there was never really fear inside of me because I was a very small kid, right? So all I thought about was going fast. That was just the clear conscience in my head, and even both of my parents were very supportive of me, and I'm very appreciative that they've given me an opportunity to even consider race car driving and pursue it, and they're absolutely in support of my dream. So I have absolutely wonderful parents who keep pushing me to be the best I can. And on top of that, especially my mom, and she was very afraid at first, me being in such a young tender age going fast at such a suddenly young time. It's not very much in every mother's heart. There's always the little pain, but my mother instantly saw inside of me that yes, I want to do it, and really she just gave me her full support. Obviously the balance and the risk that's always there, but yeah, like you said, something about speed, about racing, competing, all of them together just creates a very profound feeling in terms of going fast. I mean, think about it. When you go out and buy your first car, the first thing you want to do is speed down the lane, right? It's the absolutely the first thing. Everyone has racing on their mind, and
So,
pursuing that as a
yeah,
power in
allow me
sport.
to allow me to interrupt. I'm just tempted to ask you, because we see many teenagers crossing the speed speed limits on normal roads. I'm sure you are very careful on that side.
Yes, it's quite interesting, right? You would think someone whose job is to go extremely fast and just break all the speed limits possible in racing would do the same thing on the road. But it's racing has kind of given me a very big sort of maturity in terms of how I perceive myself in the racing world versus how I am outside. Like in terms of, I know a lot of my teenage friends as well, and a lot of my friends, they'll take their cars and they'll go speeding. It's you can't really blame them, but it's not safe, right? My car, I have an 86 TRD. It's a pretty fast car, and it's comes in a 6-speed manual. So it's very quick. It's a very small, nice coupe, and it's fast. So I'm always tempted to speed it, but I have that kind of maturity, right? It's something with racers. It's you have that maturity, you have that confidence in racing and going fast, that it's more important to be safe on the road than it is to fuel your speed
So,
inside the racing track.
yeah, absolutely. Atharv, you mentioned about maturity, so I would request you to tell us, having adventurous spirit is one thing which pulls you towards car racing, but with that adventurous speed, there is certain additional sense of controlling your mind, which is probably necessary to be a safe driver and someone who is persistent on pursuing this dream. And as you respond to this, I will also share some visual which will tell our viewers about one side of preparing from the uh, technical point of view. And This is from your Instagram post that I am bringing for our viewers. And what do we see here?
So this post is actually the first creation of my racing seat. So what happens is your first you first this is my first time creating my seat because this is my own personal shape to my body. How it works is they take a solution and they wrap it across the frame of the car. So what they do is they lay it on, and this is for formula cars. They'll lay it on the car, right? And it's a self-expanding foam. So what would happen is I would sit in the car, wait for 30 minutes, and the foam would expand around me. And that would
Wow.
be my seat. Because in these formula cars, it's you have to be very securely tight. Like we have a 5-point harness, two on my waist, two on my shoulders, and then and then two safeties on the side. Um, and one top. We have to be very safe in it, and we don't want to be sliding around in the seat like that. So this seat hugs me entirely and it's shaped to my body. And in that video actually is where they started trimming the seat. So the unnecessary parts of it that grew beyond where the seat is supposed to be, we started trimming it, shaping it, and became a full-fledged and proper seat. So that was just the development of it.
So my guest today is Atharva Desai. Atharv is a Formula car racer. He's also a student at Oxford, pursuing his motor sport technology course. Let us go to Oxford with you and what you are learning there, how it is relevant for you to realize your dream of reaching to Formula car race, Formula One
Yes,
car.
Formula One.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's my ultimate dream. My goal, my number one goal is go for Formula One. Everything I do, everything is my commitment going towards that. Everything around it, both my training and my technical skills, along with my racing skills. For example, I live in the US. I'm a US citizen and I have Indian heritage. But it was very until the last moment of my senior year in high school in the US was my decision to move to Oxford in the UK because in Oxford they have the best engineering division courses, especially for motorsport engineering. And I found my passion education wise in engineering and but preferably race car engineering because of how interesting and how much I can tie it to my overall racing. So learning it analytically and understanding the components and how each one works and then creating a proper setup and tune up for my car is something that I wish to do. And that's why I decided to pursue my university and bachelor at Oxford, and that's where I'm just training and practicing to learn about that. And Oxford and the UK is almost the center of all motorsports. As you know, Silverstone is just 30 minutes away from me. And all the Formula One racing teams and the other racing teams are all around the GB3, the F2s, and most of them are located in the UK. And that's actually the way I got my opportunity to join the become a development driver for Arden Motorsport, which is a GB. It's a GB3 and a GB4 with the FRECA and Formula Regionals. That's what their specialty is, and I got accepted into their driver development program.
Wonderful. So, as they say, you attract like minded people. In your case, since your focus is clear, so you probably got in touch with people who are into car racing. You have also been a part of a group of people who are also aspiring to become probably Formula Car One racing. Maybe other students with you also have the same common goal. What is the difference of the peer group that you found here in USA as compared to the one that you have in UK?
Excellent question. Thank you for asking that. It's quite a significant difference, especially the first time I even just going for college. Right, it was a huge cultural and like group difference between my U.S. friends, U.S. culture versus UK culture, and UK type of friends. So it took me a while to get accustomed to that. And in terms of the racing world, it's also very different. Not too different, however. It is similar in some aspects, but I do believe there's a lot more opportunities and a lot more competitiveness when it comes to the UK. I find like a lot more. I've connected with a lot more interesting individuals as well. People who are very pursued to racing, like-minded people like I am, and people who really know how to step up the ladder in terms of higher Formula Division cars. Now in the US, racing is more inclined towards Indy car racing, and that's a more American type racing motorsport. And I'm more inclined towards Formula One, which is a more European approach. So we've got, in terms of commitment, it's quite similar. All racers are like-minded. They have a very sharp and dedicated attitude towards their racing. They have skills to prove it behind them. But it's great finding the kind of difference between the US competition and the UK competition and how they differ. So it was a definite proper experience, and I really enjoyed it. Definitely met some amazing individuals, quite some people I didn't know I would ever meet, and it was overall
So,
the decision was
yeah,
brilliant.
Atharv, you are an excellent communicator also, and
Thank you.
I also would like to share with our viewers that you are going to be offering a book on car racing, or how to move this ladder which you have, and that brings me to another side where, as a learner, or when you are starting off, you need some mentorship, or people who have already been successful in the field. They would take you seriously only if they are convinced that you are sincere with what you are doing, and you have proved that. So talk to me the common advice which probably you got from different individuals who you consider, if not exactly as role model, but people who have succeeded in pursuing this dream of being successful Formula uh, One car racer. Um, as I ask you this question, I'm also taking you to this visual where you tested sort of a victory, and I'll bring that this. Oh, so when when you prove that you are an excellent driver, and people applaud for you, how was that feeling? I think this visual comes from an experience of that kind.
Yes, this actually brings back a lot of memories. That one Instagram post. This is the sign. This is where I signed the victory board. This is when we came in first place in an endurance race. My friend and I. This was quite a memorable race actually. It was a 6 hour endurance race, and it was the two of us split, and it was very harsh conditions. Very good people, very strong drivers as well, and on the grid, people who are experienced and have more experience in racing than I am in my life, more than 2 decades, more than three. So there was quite a various field with people my age and people up to the age of 40 racing to their best. That situation in that condition was a great experience. That side was also that race was very very wet. There was a lot of rain, and it was almost like a rainstorm. So the track was flooded. There was no way to switch out tires into the wet, so all we worked on were slick tires, which aren't ever good in a rain racing situation. So but I managed to take my slick tires and under wet conditions to take a victory, drive most of drive at least 3 hours in stretch to save time, and also keep working on being the fastest driver. I got fastest lap, and I was the most consistent driver out there, and just proved over to point and point again about just the amount of variety racing can bring. So coming to the book, like we were saying, there was some sort of credibility that's supposed to be there. and this is targeted to young individuals who want to become racers, but they don't have to put the amount of resources and the amount of struggles and have the proper mindset, and they don't need to go through years and years of experience to do that. I have packed it up into one book, and I've gone to an in-depth kind of written portion and video portion about what you should approach, what corner, and also the mentality you need and how you should analyze and plan things accordingly, especially if you want to make it big. So the whole point is I want to give back my decade worth of racing knowledge back to a racing community and to a new generation of drivers.
Yeah. So look at this visual. Okay. So, so they want to make sure that everyone is starting at the same time. Is it for that reason?
Yes, so what this start is called, it's called a Le Mans start. So if you are a follower of motorsport racing, there is a yearly event called the 24 Hours at Le Mans. It's a race in LMP and GT cars where they race for 24 hours at a stretch. And the style in which you start the race, you have to be on the other side of the track with your car parked on the other side, right at the start line. And when the flag goes down, or in the Le Mans case, whenever the starting position goes down, that's when people run into the car and quickly start off the race. So this was the kind of style that we did, and as in that video, I was first, and I jumped into my car very quickly and was the first one to
So you
get up
work
into the
on
lead.
so you work on your physical fitness also, I'm sure. Along with that, having flexibility in your movement, you also have made use of computer simulation to prepare yourself mentally. Talk to me briefly about that.
Yeah, so I think all tools in racing are very helpful. Fitness wise, I go to the gym every day and I do swimming for my endurance as well. And I run at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I have a very wide schedule in terms of my training. I train reaction times, my mental capabilities and endurance, and my physical fitness. So in terms of that, that's my training set and the tools that I use. And with the data that I have, I speak with my fitness trainers. On the other side, we have the data analytics and the ways you can improve your racecraft and your line. So in modern day racing now, you have the ability to use data analytics to show exactly what parts of the track you are messing up on or what parts you need to be improving on, what parts are very fast in, and how you are losing time. And with that valuable information, you can use that and improve yourself for the next session. And each session that goes on, you just get faster and faster using data. So the amount of data you're given helps a ton. And especially when you're driving in the simulator, which is a virtual race car, and you just practice your line and practice your form there, and you make yourself a better driver even without being on track.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, as we move towards the concluding part of our conversation, and there is so much that one would love to hear from you. But looking at the financial commitment that is required, because all these things apparently one can imagine cost a lot, but then you also need some sponsors, and that is another skill set which you need to develop along with your motor racing skills. So talk to me about this side of getting the right support in all possible ways.
Right, of course. I believe being a driver in a sport is you have to be very good at a wide variety of things, managing the media, being perfect at your racecraft, and understanding how to talk with your team. There's a very wide sort of expertise levels you need to be very experienced in
Talk
when
to
you're.
me about your vision, and do you have any timeline in your mind how, when you see yourself being a part of Formula One car racing?
Yes, I've made my 5-year plan and what the steps I have and the things I have in place, of course, adjusting for our financial part of it and the social part of it. When all things that go extremely well based on that, we made the 5-year plan. The plan is in November, I'm going to come to India to race the FIA Formula Regionals Championship. and my total intention is to win that, and I absolutely know I can. So everything I'm doing, I'm putting into winning that championship. And from there, I'm going to be doing the Formula 3 in either Asia or Dubai. We have to discuss a little bit more about that. And roughly, our plan after that is to jump straight into FIA Formula 2. And we're going to spend a few, at best case scenario, 2 seasons there. And then from there, I get on to Formula 1. And this is adjusting for the best case scenario, which I very well know is within reach. And I will do the best I can because I want to get to Formula 1 as soon as I can.
Great, great. Great talking to Atharva Desai. Already a source of inspiration for everyone, I believe. And the way he has clarity of focus, strategy, persistence, inner stamina to sustain, as well as someone who is willing to learn and work hard to follow and pursue his dream. It was absolute delight talking to you, Athar, with lots and
Thank you.
lots.
Likewise.
So my guest today, Atharva Desai, one of his kind, I would say. I'm so happy to have this opportunity of interacting with this young man. Wishing all the best to him, and thanking all of you for being a part of this lovely conversation with Athar. Thank you.
Thank you so
Namaste.
much, Ashokji.
Namaste.